Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for December 3rd, 2013. It's currently 10 a.m. We have temperatures rising into the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior and upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. Today's high temperatures are going to be actually pretty much near normal, if slightly above normal, ranging from the mid to upper 40s over the northern interior and upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. We're going to have some variable cloud cover, especially with that warmer air invading over a rather cool environment. So look for a few isolated to wide scattered showers as well that could move through the region. Most locations will remain dry, and we'll end up with a rather comfortable day for early December. On the radar, you can see some of those isolated showers associated with that warm air moving in. Again, this isn't a major washout or anything of that nature. As you can see with the radar, there's really not much out there. But you can get impacted by an isolated shower here or there for this afternoon. Just be on guard with that. On the infrared satellite picture, you can see one heck of a storm blowing up out here in the Atlantic Ocean. You can thank the impressive thermal gradient that is in place over the western Atlantic that is driving this storm. Note, that's very important for this upcoming winter, that these storms are blown up like this. When we get a more favorable weather pattern, things could get rather interesting moving forward. But for right now, this storm is too far out in the Atlantic to have any major impacts on the region. It will continue to lift up into the Canadian Maritimes and will have very little, if any, impact on the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. What will have an impact over the next 48 hours will be these disturbances that will move through the region as temperatures gradually warm over the next 3 days into the 50s, which will be roughly about 5 to 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. Enjoy it while you can. We'll also be dealing with a few isolated showers as well associated with these disturbances moving through. Taking a look at the water vapor satellite picture, kind of get a bigger picture here. You can see these disturbances moving through with more of a Pacific pattern influence on the region right now. But Arctic air associated with this Arctic cold front is on the way. When that Arctic cold front drops south, and it will in the next 48 hours, it's going to drive a powerful Arctic air mass into the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area by this weekend. And that Arctic air mass, combined with these disturbances because of our subtropical jet stream here, are going to set up a potentially icy mess by the time we get to Monday morning. I'll have more on that in just a second. Now, I just want to show you the type of air mass we have dealing with up here. This is minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit at the surface. That will be driving south, first towards Texas, and then towards the East Coast. And again, by, let's say, Saturday afternoon, you really start to feel the brunt of this cold air building into the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. And then on Sunday, it's going to get very, very chilly, and then very interesting Sunday night into Monday morning. On the European model guidance, we have, for today, again, pretty much a benign pattern. You can see everything's going from west to east, so you got this Pacific influence. But notice this ridge building over here in the Gulf of Alaska. That's going to drive this disturbance south, and with it, plenty of cold air. So over the next 48 hours, that Arctic cold front rapidly drops south. Here comes the cold air racing into Oklahoma City, producing frigid temperatures by the time we get to the afternoon hours on Wednesday. In the meantime, we're going to warm up under a southwesterly flow, and our temperatures are going to rebound nicely on Wednesday into the lower to mid 50s. Low temperatures, by the way, will range from the mid to upper 30s, so we'll actually stay above freezing for the next 48 hours. Moving beyond that point on Thursday, watch out for a few scattered showers as our Arctic cold front starts to approach. The majority of the rain will hold off to the west over the Ohio River Valley. Our temperatures are going to warm up very nicely into the mid to upper 50s for highs, low temperatures in the lower to mid 40s. It's going to be very comfortable out, very enjoyable, and well above normal for this time of year. Our low temperatures are basically going to be what our high temperatures should be. Enjoy this while you can, because it's not going to last. As you can see, that Arctic air is racing south. It's building into Texas. Very cold air. We're talking about temperatures below zero over portions of North Dakota as this Arctic air builds in. Now by Friday, things get very interesting. Our cold front drives through the region. Look for periods of rain. High temperatures on Friday will be in the early morning hours in the mid to upper 50s, and then they just fall gradually throughout the day as that Arctic air builds in. By the time we get to Saturday, that Arctic air is fully in control, high pressure is building in, skies will clear out. Now, I'm taking a different tack than what the GFS model guidance is showing and going much colder, about 10 degrees colder, leaning more towards the European, Canadian, and ensemble model guidance here, in which in that case, I'm looking at temperatures on Saturday more in the mid to upper 30s, most likely in the mid 30s, depending on how strong this Arctic air is. Keep an eye on this high pressure system right here. By the time we get to Sunday, which is right here, we have a couple of interesting features that are showing up. First of all, we do have this high pressure system in this signature right here. This is called a CADE signature. That means cold air is funneling down the east coast towards North Carolina. And that means there's going to be a potential for some icing. Why? Because you have cold air undercutting a southerly to southwesterly flow from the Gulf of Mexico. So you have warm air moving over cold air. That leads to bursts of snow on Sunday night, changing over to sleet and freezing rain by Monday morning, and then eventually rain. Now, the reason why we would eventually change over to rain is because of this interaction right here. In earlier model guidance, this disturbance and this upper level low remained separate. This upper level low became our new polar vortex, sitting up around the Hudson Bay, and this disturbance races to the east coast along the Arctic cold front with an area of low pressure off the New Jersey coast, and that means a mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain, and just a mess of a day on Monday. Perfect for your start of the work week with a rough morning rush hour. However, if these two disturbances interact over the plains and start to phase, then you end up with a far more different result. You end up with your polar vortex starting to redevelop towards the Hudson Bay, but you get a storm track that cuts up towards the Great Lakes as these two disturbances phase, thus allowing this low pressure system right here to track from basically Oklahoma towards basically western Quebec on the eastern side of our developing upper level low over southeastern Canada, which would be physically reasonable because instead of having a strong upper level low here blocking that race to the north, it's further west. So that allows the low pressure system to track west, and you drive your warm front up through the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, supporting a changeover to rain for everybody. But before that happens, you're going to have to drive out a lot of cold, dense Arctic air that could lead to some prolonged snow, sleet, and freezing rain, especially sleet and freezing rain, over portions of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, especially north and west of the city. I'm especially concerned about northeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, the Hudson River Valley, and northwestern Connecticut. This could be a problem Monday morning. Good news that temperatures briefly rise above freezing into the 40s on Monday before everything comes crashing down on Monday night to Tuesday, with Arctic air invading and remaining in place. And look where we are by the end of the 10-day period by next Thursday. Of course, we're rather chilly with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, possibly a few 40s popping up there by Thursday afternoon as our air mass moderates. But look where we're at. We have our upper level low here over the Gulf of Alaska that's clearly shifting towards the Aleutian Islands. A strong ridge starting to build over Alaska and over Western Canada. And look at this northwesterly flow setting up. And here is our upper level low. Now, notice how heights are building up in Canada? Let's say these two connect. Then you get basically a pattern where you have a strong upper level low funneling cold air into the northern tier, especially the northern mid-Atlantic, like right here, just funneling right in. Meanwhile, we have our subtropical jet stream, very active right here, sending disturbance after disturbance along the southern tier, let's say from Oklahoma to the southeast coast, with waves of low pressure and the potential for a very active weather pattern. So a lot of interesting dynamics falling into place here. We're going to have to see exactly how all of this works out. Of course, there's a lot to work out for the threat for Sunday night into Monday. Don't jump to conclusions yet. Just be prepared for a rather rough morning commute on Monday morning. That is your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.